Whittier, no longer forward nor behind, I look in hope and fear, but grateful take the good I find, the best of now and here. I like this quote because it can apply to everybody. Everyone has bad situations happen to them, but if you find just one good part of that situation, you're going to be happier in the long run. For my first piece, I have a paragraph from the novel The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is a novel about a man named Nick who becomes friends with the Great Gatsby. In this piece, Nick reflects on what a great person Gatsby was. When I came back from the East last autumn, I felt that I wanted the world to be in uniform, and had a sort of moral attention forever. I wanted no more righteous excursions with privileged glimpses into the human heart. Only Gatsby, the man who gives his name to this book, was exempt from my reaction. Gatsby, who represented everything for which I have an unaffected scorn. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity to the promises of life, as if he were related to one of those intricate machines that register earthquakes 10,000 miles away. This responsiveness had nothing to do with that flabby impressionability, which is dignified under the name of creative temperament. It was an extraordinary gift for hope, a romantic readiness for such as I have never found in any other person, and which is not likely I shall ever find again. No, Gatsby made it all right at the end. It was what preyed on Gatsby, what foul dust floated in the wake of his dreams that temporarily closed my interest in the abortive sorrows and short-minded elations of men. In my next piece, I have this I believe essay called The Ultimate Sacrifice. It is a story about a major in the Army who is reflecting on the life of a soldier that he was friends with and who died in active duty. I believe that the ultimate sacrifice is to give one's life for their country. On July 1st, 2004, I lost one of our nation's finest. His name was Sergeant Christopher Wagner. Chris was a typical young kid, outgoing, friendly, well-liked, and hardworking. That morning, Chris was a vehicle commander for a small convoy delivering food, water, and supplies to an outpost a few miles away from our base in northern Iraq. On the way, his vehicle struck a landmine, killing him immediately and severely injuring 2 others. As an officer, I've had to accept the fact that my job is risky. I've lost several friends and coworkers in the past because of accidents, but Sergeant Wagner's death was different. Perhaps it was because he was so young, or that his death was caused by the enemy, or because as his commander I was personally responsible for his well-being. For the first time, I was forced to consider the sacrifices we make to defend our country. I wondered, how could I handle this? There are rules for administratively processing the death of a soldier, but we received no training on how to handle it emotionally or psychologically. What would I say to the other soldiers? What would I say to his parents? I pondered these questions for a long time that night, feeling somewhat sorry for the situation I was in. I quickly realized that I was being very selfish. I was still alive, I was still capable of having an impact on the current operations, and I would be able to return home from Iraq when my tour was done. Chris would not. He gave his life in a faraway place that few have ever heard of so that other soldiers could continue doing their jobs. He gave his life in defense of our country. Now I'm on my 4th overseas deployment, serving in Afghanistan. To this day, I still wear a bracelet with Sergeant Wagner's name on it and the date of his death. It reminds me in a time of stress, trouble, and tribulation that I still have an opportunity to make a difference. I continue to serve our country in hopes that my experience can protect the lives of our current and future soldiers. In my next piece, I have a poem by Joseph Litch called Finding Happiness, and in a nutshell, it pretty much just says, happiness is a choice, and no matter what state of mind you're in, you can find it. Yellowing pages curl as history flexes and bends. With tangled stories and lives our mind we defend. Life remedies by our kinfolk we have been told. Folklore we have woven tightly within our soul. On earth's venture, all life's learning and soul we told. Each new moment seems to bring unfamiliar notes. With a passion for peace, with a confused mind, we retrace our path, hoping to find a better song. Don't mind what others may do or what they say. Take some time alone in nature, admiring today. Each moment is perfect as it comes from the above, showering each of us with an unconditional love. Be silent and still, clearing the mind of everything, then we still hear the daughters of music sing. They play and sing for each of life's special song, healing our soul ill will, making our minds strong. Then we may dream, walk right into the spirit plane, where we may relieve ourselves of grief and pain. Though our mind may sometimes wander so far, happiness is a state of mind right where you are. In my final piece, I have another This I Believe essay, which is about a woman who is suffering from chronic pain from a car accident she was in by a drunk driver, and it's called The True Value of Life. I believe in the power of forgiveness and compassion. It gives a chance for some to repent their previous mistakes. I've come to learn the true nature of forgiveness over the years, beginning with a personal experience of mine that was life-changing. It happened when I was 13. I was riding with my friend's family in their car down a two-lane highway when we were hit head-on by a drunk driver going 65 miles per hour. Eddie Joe was his name, and he was so intoxicated that one more beer would have killed him. Thankfully, everyone survived, although I came away from the accident with chronic back and neck pain, migraine headaches, and part of my kidney missing. It has nearly been a decade, and I'm still in pain every day. Pain forever is a lot to swallow when you're so young. In court, the judge sentenced Eddie to 25 years in prison to make an example of the situation. I didn't understand the full extent of this when I was 13. I was upset about how the ignorance and actions of this person had changed my life forever. As time went by, I began to think of Eddie in jail, away from his family, and how he must feel. I received letters from him stating his remorse for his actions, and yet I couldn't bring myself to write back. I was so overwhelmed with so many different emotions that I didn't know what to say. I have now forgiven Eddie in my heart for his actions. I know that when he got into his car that night, he was too inebriated to even realize he was driving. He had a problem that got out of hand and out of control. I know Eddie didn't hit us in a malicious act in any way. It was a mistake, an awful mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. I have courage now to write to him. He will finally know how I feel when I send him this essay. Forgiveness and compassion can be amazing feelings when you let them into your heart. People deserve a second chance to do the right thing, especially when one may be caught up in the circumstance. I don't think Eddie deserved 25 years in prison for his actions. I am forever changed by him, but in some ways it has shown me the true values of life. Even though I struggle every day, I think that it has made me a stronger person, a more loving and compassionate person. For that, Eddie, I thank you. Finding something good in any bad situation will help you get over that someday, and it will make you a better person in the long run and a happier